I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I just asked if the board members could please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Sandra Zajac, a retired secretary, to the principal of the South River Elementary Schools for over 30 years. Thank you. Okay, so in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, Sentinel. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Roll call.
Mr. Bazak?
Here.
Mrs. Beck?
Here.
Mr. Budson?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Here.
Mrs. Lowe?
Here.
Mr. Nielsen?
Here.
Mr. Rosanno?
Here.
Mr. Ashatar?
Here.
Mr. Bannock?
Here.
Ms. Cassiano?
Thank you. At this time, this special meeting is being called to approve the refunding of the bond ordinance that was discussed at our meeting last month. So the first order of business is to open the meeting for a public hearing of this board agenda. At this time, the public may address the agenda items only. If you come to the podium, please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. And Mr. Picasco.
Okay. Just to further elaborate as to the purpose of the public hearing is that the district has a bond associated back in June of 2011, which is required by law in the event that interest rates are lower than what the bonds currently pay. We have been advised by our financial advisors that the interest rates are lower than the current bonds, and we also have to realize at least a 3% savings in the interest rates, which under current market conditions, they're even lower than the 3%. So, therefore, because of the law, and because we like to save the taxpayers money, we are going to monitor the bond market, which starts tomorrow if this resolution is passed. And if the bond market is favorable and the board's favored, then the bonds this particular bonds will be refinanced. That's the purpose of the public hearing and the reasons why the board is doing that. In light of the fact that there was no questions related to that, what I'd like to do is I'm just going to read the headline of the resolution that the board will act on. If anybody would like a copy of the bond resolution, we've made at least 12 or 15 copies, so it looks like we do have enough in the event that the public here would like to read or look at the entire, because the entire resolution is around 3 pages long. Okay, so by law we're only required to read the caption of the resolution, which basically says the resolution of the Board of Education of the Borough of South River in the County of Middlesex, New Jersey, authorizing certain actions necessary in connection with the sale and issuance of not to exceed $4 million aggregate principal amount of refunding the school bonds, and authorizing the appropriate officials to do all acts and things deemed necessary and advisable in connection with the sale, issuance, and delivery of said bonds.
Thank you. Is there a motion? for
Nielsen.
that? And a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Budson. Any questions or comments from the board? Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bazak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Budson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Lowe? Yes. Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanno?
Yes.
Mr. Ashatar?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes. Thank you, board members. I think that's a really good move we made for the public. Okay, at this time, can we talk about public again?
Yeah,
Yes,
just in
yes.
case they want to say something else, not that they know what we talked about.
So, so now there will be another public portion of the board meeting. And once again, if anybody wishes to address the board, You can come to the microphone and state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute limit. Seeing none, we will close the public portion and we will move on to the content of our regular...
No, we have to adjourn this meeting. Yes.
Oh,
I'm
sorry. Yes, thank you. Yes, we need to adjourn this meeting. Is there a motion?
Nielsen.
Beck. Mr. Nielsen for the motion, Ms. Beck for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
So adjourned.
You gotta read it.
Okay. Okay, so now we have the regular meeting agenda this evening, and in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, laws of 1975, Chapter 231 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was faxed and mailed to the following newspapers, the Home News Tribune and the Sentinel. On February 20th, 2020, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Roll call, Mr. Kokoska.
Mr. Bezak? Here. Mrs. Beck?
Here.
Mr. Budson?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Here.
Mrs. Lell?
Here.
Mr. Nielsen?
Here.
Mr. Rosanno?
Here.
Mr. Rashatar?
Here.
Mrs. Urbanic?
Here.
Ms. Cassiano?
Thank you. Okay, the next item of business on the agenda is the approval of our meeting minutes. We have the August 22nd, November 25th, and the December 16th, 2019 revised regular public meeting minutes for your approval, and the January 2nd, 2020, and January 23rd, 2020 reorganization and regular public meeting respectively. Is there a motion on those minutes?
Nielsen.
Bezak?
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Bezak. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And now we have our use of facilities.
There are 7 items on the agenda: the South River Baseball, South River Recreation, the Wellspring Center for Prevention, the Center for Responsive Schools, the U.S. Army, and Ms. Lowe, what was the name of that church again? Oh, I'm sorry. You said it so nicely at the last.
The Catedral de Duração.
There you go. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you. Is there a motion for these use of facilities?
Nielsen moved the use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
And that's the second. There's a motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Ms. Beck. Are there any comments or questions on these use of facilities? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to our financial report. Ms. Lau.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for December 2019 be approved, and I so move.
Motion by Ms. Lau,
Second.
second by Mr. Nielsen. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. At this time, I would like to turn the meeting over to our Superintendent of Schools, Ms. Zurcher.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanek. The first item on my superintendent's report this month is our Seal of Biliteracy program. This is our 3rd year participating in this opportunity. The Seal of Biliteracy strives to accomplish the following: encouraging students to study various languages, certify attainment of biliteracy, provide employers with a method of identifying people with language skills, provide universities with a method to recognize and award academic credit for students seeking admission, prepare students with 21st century skills, recognize and promote second language instruction in public schools, and strengthen intergroup relationships, really affirm diversity and acknowledge students for their multilingual skills. So this year we tested students in Spanish and Russian. And those students who were successful participants in the program will receive an endorsement, which will be on their high school diploma. So this is a great accomplishment for our students, and we are really, really proud that 17 students were tested this year, and 12 will be receiving the actual seal. So very, very excited for our students. We want to talk about the RAM runway. We actually put out today dates that the RAM runway will be open to the public in March. We encourage people to come to our RAM runway. We've been talking about it for a while, but the RAM runway is a location here at the high school where students and families in the community can come and can either recycle their clothing or choose items of clothing that they are in need of. The RAM runway is not for students or families in need per se, but it's really a recycling effort as much as providing access to our families. So if you have a student who would like to just come in and check it out, if you yourself would like to, and there's a nice shirt or a pair of pants that you like in there, it's yours for the taking. And if you have good items that you can donate to the cause, we are receiving those, and they can be dropped off at the high school. So the RAM runway is open to our high school students throughout the day, but we will have community days where they are open to the entire community. The first set of dates, like I said, are in March. Please make sure you're checking our social media page for that. We are proud to announce that the middle school is opening up a new club called Girls Who Code. This club is being opened in conjunction with our current robotics club, but it really focuses on providing opportunities for our female students to get engaged in STEM and technology-based activities. So we're excited about that, and we'll continue to report on the activities of the club. So far, we know that the club will be meeting after school hours at least 15 times from now until the end of the school year. We have a program of studies coming out at the high school, already came out at the high school, and we have some new and exciting courses that we're offering. Introduction to Fashion and Design Drawing. That was something that students communicated that they would like to see as an elective. Science Fiction and Fantasy Literature. That's a new course in our English department. Introduction to Programming, App and Game Design. That's a new course. Drone Piloting. This is, these are two courses, actually, 2.5 credits each. And from that drone piloting course, the students will actually take their drone certification assessment and can actually graduate with a drone certificate, which really opens them up to many employment opportunities. There are many fields that are using drone technology, and it really prepares our students for that next step. And also, we ran a program, was hosted by the high school and by our school nurse here at the high school, and in the Future Healthcare Professionals Club. And Victoria, I think you might want to say a few words about this too, but they did a Stop the Bleed program. And the efforts are to really train and teach members of the community, members of the school community first, how to address a bleed before help gets to the site. So it's a really good program that we're running, and we are in the process of applying for a grant to continue to extend that training as well as receive the materials that go along with it. So that's another great opportunity that we are pursuing. And finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Srp Dance that just took place. Always a successful event, and this year was no exception. I heard, it was my first year missing the event, and I heard nothing but fantastic things about the night, like I always do, how much people enjoyed it, and all in the name of a good cause. And Shanette is here with us today, so I'd like to call her up to be able to talk about what SRP does with the funding that it fundraises.
Good evening. Yes, we celebrated our 5th anniversary this year, and I'd like to thank this group of people for your support, both on a professional level as well as a personal level. Without you, a lot of what we do could not happen, and we appreciate it immensely. What SRP does is we provide the want-to-haves, where the board provides the need-to-haves, we provide the things that teachers may want to do for their classes that are not included in the budgetary items that are provided at the school district. So we give a little of the extras that sometimes are wanted and sometimes needed. So in that vein, I'd like to bring up our first grant recipient for 2020, Ms. Baker and Ms. Mangione from the preschool. You would just briefly tell me what your grant was about.
Mrs. Mangione and I would like to extend our most sincere thank you to the members of SRP for choosing us to be one of the recipients for this year's mini grants. This mini grant is being used to provide our special education preschool students with an increased level of sensory support in the classroom. We will be purchasing a variety of materials that will meet the sensory needs of our students by naturally embedding these tools into the existing school day. These tools will be integrated with and enhance our current ABA curriculum in the areas of auditory processing, calming, coordination skills, motor skill development, positive transitions, sensory regulation, and social skills building. These materials will help to stimulate our students' senses, which in turn will help to improve concentration and focus during instructional time. We are extremely grateful to the Foundation for making it possible for us to provide our students with sensory tools that will help to regulate their interests and engagement levels in order to achieve higher level skills that are needed for classroom success.
Very good, ladies.
Next, I'd like to bring up Ms. Procaccini and Ms. Upton from the middle school.
Hi, good evening. We want to say thank you for choosing us for this grant. Last year, when I started at the middle school, perfect attendance kind of was like handed to me and said, we'd like you to handle this and be in charge of creating the certificates, acknowledging the students. So Corey and I sat down with Caitlin Servan, who helps us tremendously, and the guidance department. And we decided we were going to create a new certificate for the students. And what else could we do to show them that, they're doing what they're supposed to, coming to school on time, and that's what perfect attendance is. They have to get to school not only every day, but also on time. A lot of the kids don't like that, because they're there and they come to us and tell us, but I was here, but you were late one time. It still matters. So we decided that out of our own pockets, starting last year, each marking period, it was $15, so it's 5 gift certificates or 3 gift certificates that we purchased, one for each grade level. It was $5 to Dunkin' Donuts or $5 to Five Below. So the two of us last year put our money in and did it for first marking period, second marking period, and third marking period. And we put them in a pool. Caitlin, again, with her techie skills, there's a program, and one student is chosen for each grade level. So those students come up, we take their picture, we make an announcement of the winners. And this year we're actually able to take their picture and post it on our TV that we have in the main entrance in the middle school. So when I saw the mini grant, I'm like, Corey, let's put in for this, and see what we could do. So we're starting little. We have ideas for next year. It's still available to move forward with Mr. Risk as well. But again, it's just each marking period, 3 marking periods, $15, $5 each grade level. One student gets picked.
And
they're excited about it. And every student who does achieve perfect attendance for that marking period does receive a certificate and either a bracelet or a pencil, some sort of acknowledgement, and they love it. They get all excited about it, and then they're eagerly waiting for that announcement of who from each grade level is going to be the lucky winner of the gift card. So, we thank you very much for supporting us and, just showing the kids how important it is to attend school on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
So I just would like to add, there were 2 groups who received the grant. Those are the only 2. There's no limit per school. We have no idea why there were not more. We welcome the opportunity to help in any way that we can, so I wish everyone would encourage someone else to apply, and if all goes well, we'll have money again next year. You're not limited to the amount of times that you can apply. Larry Getz applied every year except this year. Is she alive? Yeah. So it's the money is there. Thank God, knock on wood. The money is there. We did exceptionally well this year for the dinner dance, for our anniversary, for our honorees. It was an amazing night. We topped ourselves. I'm not saying that to brag. It's just the truth. And a lot of hard work went into it by a lot of people, and we're so thankful to everyone who gives us the support. And again, a lot of you in this room. So most of you were there that evening. So for those who were not, here are the journals that were passed.
Oh.
You can pass that around. That should be enough. Whoever was not there, and if you need more, let me know. You can also go on our website at srp.org and see pictures from the evening, and also on our Facebook page as well. We have some more relaxed pictures coming out on the Facebook page, and they'll be posted on our website. But everyone had a good time, and we're very pleased with the turnout. And again, we can't thank everyone enough for the support. Anyone have any questions for me?
You did a great job, Shanetta.
Thank you.
Thank you very
It's a
much.
group effort.
Yes.
Definitely a group effort. And congratulations to you.
Thank you, hon.
Thank you.
Jeanette, I'd just like to say that over 5 years ago, when you were still a member of this board, you brought that idea to this board, and you chose not to return to the board 1 year, and you took this and you grabbed this idea and you ran with it, and in 5 years, you have had the greatest success in bringing this to where it is today than any program I've seen similar to this start in any other town. 5 years is a long time, but it's a short time in terms of establishing a foundation like this. And to be where you are today, great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it is a group effort. It is. And I thank you for the kind words. Have a good evening.
You too, Shanetta.
Thank you. Your superintendent?
And so concludes my report, yes, thank you.
Board members, what is your pleasure on the superintendent's report?
Move to accept the report as given.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Rosanno, second by Mr. Nielsen. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. At this time, there will be a public portion. We are going to open up the meeting to the public that they can address items on the agenda only. This is for the regular public meeting. If you have any questions or comments or statements to make about items on the regular agenda, please come up, state your name and address, and keep your comments to a 10-minute limit. There will be another portion at the end of the meeting for the public to address the board on any board matters.
Shanetta Turner Smith, 108 Monticello Way. I would just like to commend the board on the new courses that are coming out next year. Amazing. This is my third child graduating this year from South River High School, and this has to be the most rigorous selection of courses that I've yet to see. And I just want to congratulate all of you on the hard work and keep it up and moving our district forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanetta.
Any other members from the public wishing to address the board on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion and move on to the consent resolution. Mr. Kokoska?
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time, whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon under finance items 8.1 through 8.17, instruction 9.1 through 9.5, human resources 12.1 through 12.11, safety and risk items 13.1 through 13.3.
Board members, motion on that?
Nielsen?
Rosanna?
A motion by Mr. Nielsen for the consent resolution, a second by Mr. Rosano. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bazak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Budson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Lell?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosano?
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanek?
Yes. Thank you. The motion carries. Okay, at this time, we're going to have reports from our various committees, starting with the athletics and extracurricular. Mr. Budson.
Well, there's nothing on the agenda but say that the girls played a interesting game on Tuesday against like a professional team, and they held their own and they were very competitive for a while. So I'd like to thank them for their effort. That's all I have.
If I can add, just,
Yeah.
it's one of the things I always do is the robotics. Their competitions are March 21st to 22nd in Bridgewater, Raritan High School. And then their second competition's the following weekend, March 28th to 29th at Montgomery High School.
Thank you. Is there a theme for this year? Don't they usually have a theme
They
each
do,
year?
but I don't know what it is.
I forget what it was, too.
Yeah, I
I'm
forgot what it
sorry.
is.
Okay, so we
I know,
both
we're
forgot.
hoping.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I believe they're having a pancake breakfast on Sunday.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
At Applebee's.
So if anyone can make it.
From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yes.
And it's a really good cause. These kids do a great job with the robotics. So if you can make it at all, please do. Plus, you get your money's worth.
Good idea. Anyone else? Thank you. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Ms. Beck.
Nothing to add from Monday, except for I wanted to just put it out there. The Ram sign out by the front of the Board of Ed building has been updated and refreshed. And Mr. Fodor and Mr. Olson have personally done a great job getting the sign updated like that. They did that late December. A few little things here and there that they're going to do yet, but it's nice to see it updated. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Finance, Ms. Lau.
Finance had additional items and a couple of revisions, so the requisition list was revised, and then we had items towards the end that were added on from 813, addition approved, contract, Liaison Education LLC, drone technology curriculum provider for the 2019-20 school year. Addition approved contract Bellani Bus Company for High Note Music Festival field trip transportation service provider 19-20 school year. 8.15 addition approved contract Urban Refill Inc. Harris Resort field trip transportation service provider 19-20 school year. 8.16 addition accept donation mini grant South River Foundation for Educational Excellence for the 19-20 school year. And 8.17 addition approved contract responsive classrooms host site for the 19-20 school year.
Thank you. For our Instruction Committee, Mr. Rosano.
Thank you, Madam President. There's nothing new since Monday night.
Good report. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next would be our negotiations. Do Mr. Parton have anything to update us with?
No updates. We'll briefly discuss some related issues in executive session.
Okay, thank you. Policy and legislation, Vice President Bush.
Nothing new since Monday.
Thank you. And for our Human Resources Committee, Mr. Nielsen.
Nothing new since Monday, Madam President.
Thank you. I'll keep up with the page turning. Maybe I should get the computer back. No, I'm doing fine. Okay, our next committee, Safety and Risk Management, Mr. Basak.
Thank you, Mr. President. One new item since Monday, item 13.3, addition approve route number 1578 to South River Alternative High School, Educational Service Commission of New Jersey, 2019-2020 school year. And that's all I have.
Thank you. School Community Relations, Mr. Rashatar.
Yes, one addition since the meeting on Monday, but I think it's significant enough for me to repeat the awards for these students in this public meeting, the formal meeting. There were two students in the high school who received Student of the Month for December. They are Tori Pinto and Ryan Bird, and in January, Jillian Fernandez and Miguel Rios. For project graduation, I'll mention it again, there's an event, a fundraiser called Designer Bag Bingo on Friday, the 20th of March in the evening. And here we go with the names that I managed to get through, and some middle school teachers here, I hope, correct me if I'm wrong, these students deserve recognition for January Students of the Month. For grade 6, for ELA, Diana Vidal. For math, Samantha Marquez. Science, Melina Esposito. Social studies, Hayden Sullivan. PE, Janelle Gonzalez Dolores. And for the cycle, Jose Arriaga Rios. For math, also on grade 6, Emma Helstowski. Grade 7, ELA, Sarah Sanchez. Math, Kayla Williams. Science, Leslie Valleda and Danielle Devers. Social studies, Colin Louise. ESL, Rafael Seta. PE, Riker Stewart. Cycle, Sharon Pontanza. And for grade 8, ELA, Vitalia Spatola and Fabiola Garcia. For math in grade 8, Gabriela Ribeiro. For science, grade 8, Urte Bazavicius. Social studies, Isha Umamenges Warren. And PE, Rosalind Kinde. And cycle, Caitlin Seminovich. The teacher that rocks for the middle school for January is Jennifer Severs. And give me 1 second. There is a new press release. We're going to have an event that's free to all parents and guardians concerning vaping initiatives. There are scheduled 2 parent information sessions, one on March 11th and one on May 14th at 6:30 p.m. at the high school. Parent information sessions are provided free of charge through the Wellspring Center for Prevention. We've installed vaping detectors in all high school bathrooms. Vaping detectors will also be installed at the middle school. We're providing additional support to identified students with our district SAC and with the Aspire online prevention program, and ongoing student presentations by district staff and outgoing agencies will be happening. And that is it for the press releases.
Just to clarify too, those 2 sessions are the same session. Parents can choose which one works best with their schedule. So one in March on the 11th, and then the same presentation again on May 14th. And they're both here at the high school at 6:30 p.m. We'll be advertising these like crazy. We want parents out there. We want parents getting this very important information. Thank you. Oh, and one more thing too. And we will also be releasing dates for another parent presentation, which will be on the topic of social media and giving parents some insider points of view and tips on what is out there that your children might be engaged in, and how to best talk to your children about the use of social media. And the dates for that are forthcoming.
Okay. Thank you. The next committee report is the School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee. Mr. Nielsen.
We have not yet met yet, but I see Ms. Ballas is in the audience, so I'll exchange phone numbers with you at the end of the meeting, and you and I can get together, set something up. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Our PTA Liaison, Ms. Beck.
Sure. Supposed to have a meeting yesterday. Unfortunately, it was canceled. So all the PTAs held their general meetings last week at the PTA Founders Day, the kindergarten concert. It was very well attended. And then I know they're all working on their fundraisers and their activities for the students for the end of the school year type thing. Their next meetings are for the primary school, March 25th at 6:45. Elementary school is March 5th at 6 p.m. Middle school is April 22nd at 6:30, and high school is April 21st at 5:30. So it concludes my report.
Thank you. The South River Public Library Liaison, Mr. Budzen.
When we have our spring break, the library has events scheduled all through the week, so have people check the website for that. When the school has their parent-teacher conferences, the library will be there to issue library cards. And also last year, the high school and library worked together with the summer reading program. So this year it's going to be all the schools. That's all I have.
That's great.
Very good.
I'd like to add something to that, John. Mr. Eppinger attended the meeting. He's the liaison from the Borough Council, and he invited the library to participate in the 300th anniversary town event. So in the future, we'll be talking about that, what we can do from the library.
Good, thank you. And Mr. Rashitar, if you would continue with South River Foundation for Educational
I really have
Excellence.
nothing to add other than what I mentioned on Monday, and that Shanetta expanded on.
Very good, thank you. At this time, we'd like to hear something from our Student Board Representative, Ms. Cassiano.
Hi, yes, thank you. So I do have something to add for tonight. I'd like to add on to what Ms. Searcher was saying before about Stop the Bleed. So this event is run by the Future Healthcare Professionals Club, and you don't need to be a member to participate in this event. And a lot of students, basically what happens is the students learn how to save a person's life. Whether an emergency happens or if for some reason somebody falls and gets hurt and they start bleeding out, they learn how to apply pressure, where to apply pressure, how to do everything, how to tie tourniquets, what to do in that kind of situation. And the students, they loved it. Everybody the next day was talking about it. A bunch of people got to participate. Most importantly, they learned how to help somebody and save a life. So that's all I have to add for tonight.
Great.
That's great.
That's very important, yeah, thank you. Is there any old business to come before the board at this time?
I don't think so.
And do we have anything from our attorney?
Several things for executive session.
Executive, okay, thank you. And any new business?
I just want to say that this weekend is the high school play. I didn't notice it on the calendar, so it's tomorrow night and Saturday night. I forget the name, but it's How Peter Pan Became Peter Pan. It's the long and the short of what the play is about. And I don't recall the time, honestly.
7 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah, I'll be
7
here.
o'clock both nights.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Saturday?
Friday and Saturday. And I know they're here all night working.
They sync our district into the calendar.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, Mrs. Bush, is this weekend?
Yes,
That's
Friday and Saturday.
Okay, thank you. Thank
That's
you.
this weekend.
Friday and Saturday, thank you.
Tomorrow and Saturday.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow, that's right. Okay, thank you.
And actually, to add on to that, I don't remember the exact dates. I have to look at my phone. But I know the middle school play is, I think, next Friday, Saturday, or it's 2 weeks.
That's in March already.
Yes.
Probably before.
That's another Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
And then the elementary school has one coming up too, right?
Also in March.
Yeah.
They're both in March.
Check our website.
Check our
Be on
Yes.
website.
Elementary school's the 6th.
Right. Elementary school's next weekend.
Okay.
And middle school is actually April 3rd and 4th.
Thank you. At this time, we will need a motion for payment of bills. Ms. Lowe?
The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented have been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid and listed, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Lowe. We have a second by Mr. Rosano. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now again at this time, we are going to open up the meeting to the public. At this time, the public may address any concern or comment that they have for the board. Again, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. Any member wishing to come before the board from the public? Seeing none, we will close the public portion. At this time, the board will be going into executive session for discussion of a couple of items. So be it resolved that pursuant to Sections 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, the following subjects to be discussed at a session of a Board of Education closed to the public: attorney-client privilege, negotiations, and personnel. It is presently anticipated that the items to be discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public when resolved. Is there a motion?
Nielsen.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rosanno. Roll call?
Mr. Bezak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Hudson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Lell?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosanno?
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes. Thank you. Yes.